last time with you, I guess, in talking fashion. And this morning, the theme, as we were talking about what the Pharisees were saying to the man born blind, to his parents, to Jesus, and then yesterday was the theme of the gate, the shepherd, being attuned to Creator's voice, to Jesus's voice. And then throughout all of that, the last part, the theme of disagreement. And so I'm going to read from the First Nations version, John chapter 10, verses 19 through 21. But I gotta say, I have to check to see, is my zipper all the way up? Just gotta check. I just had this thought. Okay. So, this story brought much disagreement among the tribal members, and they began to argue about him. Many were saying, "He has lost his mind and has an evil spirit. Why do we even listen to him?" At the same time, others were saying, "These are not the words of someone with an evil spirit. Can an evil spirit open blind eyes?" So I think that just really ties into the place of what we were talking about yesterday with extremes and wanting to have attunement to the voice. If you can think of a time that you felt really loved and cared for, that person that loved you really well, and that person that cared for you really well, what did it feel like to be loved? And how did their voice tie into yours? That time when you know their voice and they know yours. And a lot of times you can hear their voice in the way that they loved you and cared for you. It's pretty cool to kind of just maybe give that reminder, being attuned to the voice of love. And so when we talk about disagreement, I felt like I didn't have maybe like the experiential qualifications to be able to share very much wisdom on disagreements. I have had my share of disagreements and arguments and things like that. But I felt like it was a good time to just give this time up to our elders. And so I shot an email to all of them and was like, I need your help. And at this time and season in our life, like, we really need to hear from you guys about what it means to live well together, to live in right relationship with one another, to live well with the land and take care of it, to live well with the Creator, all that stuff. And so I asked our elders for help, and those that have come here to Would Jesus Eat Fry Bread, a lot of them wrote, and we're very sorry that they couldn't be here, but their words hopefully will be just a good support for all of us here. Back when we had Would Jesus Eat Fry Bread in Anchorage, Alaska, Sukita was there, and he did a seminar, and at the beginning he was reminding all of us that when an elder listens, or that when an elder talks, we are encouraged to listen. And then he said, we're not asking you to agree with us. You don't have to agree with us all the time, but we're just asking if you could just listen to us, just once. And so I felt like that was a really good reminder that, yes, we have respect for our elders and we honor them and we hold them as sacred, but even his words of saying that, like, we don't have to agree with them all the time or fully, but that just that call for respect is there. So even as I read the words of what our elders are saying to us, take the things that are good for you in this moment. So first is Lenore, 3 stars. And those, I'll read them off to you. I printed out the thing, but Lenore, 3 stars, is Oglala Lakota. And she says, I know some things are hard to carry, even as a believer. I've prayed tears over things that are hard to understand. I'm sorry nobody came to you, little Indian child, hiding from rapist priests in boarding school. I'm sorry nobody came to save you, brown child, hiding from bullets and bombs in a far country. I'm sorry I live in a land that cannot own its own history of genocide, which has eroded its own humanity to the point that it has no capacity to object to your genocide. Sometimes we can only cry, and sometimes lament can open fertile ground. Disasters and hardship can fall on believers, and it's hard to carry. But we are not meant to carry hard times by ourselves. Creator designed us for community, so we have others to help us carry the weight, to wrestle with God, to ask the hard questions. Even if we don't find answers from the great mystery, we are not doing it alone, but with relatives designed to care. Because God so loved the cosmos, Jesus brought his sacrificial love. He didn't come to condemn or control, but to share and teach radical love. A time of healing and restoration is promised for all creation. I like to say that living in this world is not about a linear orthodoxy, correct beliefs, or waiting for a restoration at the end. It's about the continuous orthopraxy, which is correct actions, and finding balance and being a good relative now and every day. Some Lakota believe that after you pass, you meet a grandmother who asks, "Did you help the people? Did you feed the hungry? And were you kind to all?" I imagine that these are the kind of questions we all will want to answer yes to. Remind yourself that as Imago Dei, you are sacred beings, spiritually designed to do this. As Randy Woodley says, we don't pray and do ceremony to be spiritual. We do it to remind us that we are spiritual beings. Don't lose heart. The Spirit, our helper, is everywhere present in the cosmos, always working out a redemptive healing purpose. Inhale. Hold. And slowly exhale. Okay, next one, Randy Woodley. Oh, I guess it's Terry. Okay.
Oh wait, you got Randy now.
Oh yeah, there he is. Okay. This is Randy Woodley. He says hello. And he decided to send more of a scientific, message, because he knew that a lot of the other elders would be touching more on the spiritual. So this is a lot of the stuff that he teaches. But he says that James DeMayo, PhD, did a study of indigenous societies and their relationship with violence compared to peoples of the West. DeMayo's life study, he studied 1,170 indigenous societies in Africa, circum-Mediterranean, East Eurasia, Oceania, North America, South America, and he looked at societies that developed and maintained harmony. And so these are some of the things that was after his lifetime of study. Number 1, human violence is unnatural. Number 2, perpetual war is not inevitable. Number 3, the human species is by nature loving, cooperative, and peaceful. Number 4, there is a real early peaceful period in the archaeological record. Number 5, the concept of a naked violent ape or violent genes is a modern fantasy and falsehood. Number 6, early climate change around 4000 BCE led to the first widespread appearance of violent human societies, which have favorably perpetuated themselves over the centuries by conquest of more peaceful societies. And the causes of this conquest is mainly because of resource scarcity and competition, because of migration-induced clashes, social and economic instability, and cultural tensions. That sounds scary to read, because it's very real right now. Number 7, societies with greater female influence are much more likely to resolve conflict that could lead to war than societies with greater male influence. So his summary, put indigenous women in charge of peacekeeping. So he says that the debt of modern society to the indigenous peoples of this land is huge. And the scientifically grounded appreciation of Native American culture reveals Turtle Island as the largest region on planet Earth where the larger percentage of humans live peacefully. Though we are not perfect, learning from America's First Nations about peacemaking can only make the world a better place. So I hope you guys can think back, ask people about those stories of peacemaking that your people have practiced for centuries. Next is Uncle Terry. Uncle Terry LeBlanc. He says hello also, and he is he's Mi'kmaq from Prince Edward Island, Canada. And he says, when Jesus walked on this earth, oh, sorry. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. Okay, Uncle Terry. He says, when Jesus walked on this earth, he invited people to come and follow me. Becoming a follower meant that the person became his disciple. The English Bible translates several words to mean disciple. They all speak about learning from, following the teachings of, being taught by, or being an apprentice to Jesus, seeking to become like him. Those are the definitions of disciple. After Jesus' death and resurrection, the term Christian, little Christ, came to refer to that same idea. Someone who was a follower of the Jesus way. But Jesus' invitation then and now was to become his followers, not to become Christians. He says, hold on. I thought you just said that they were the same. What's the difference now? Well, my friends, today it seems more and more clear that it is possible for us to claim to be and to be described as a Christian, yet not be followers of Christ and his ways. So regardless of whether you walk out your life of faith within your traditional cultural ways or within Euro-Christian or Euro-American or Euro-Canadian ways, it is possible to be described as a Christian and yet not be a follower of Jesus. So let's be clear, your culture is not the issue. Whether you are a follower of Jesus is. So let's eat fry bread and follow the Jesus way. Ready? Okay, inhale. Exhale. Okay, we have Richard. Richard Silversmith. Is it okay if I read your word? Yeah? Okay. So Richard, he says, indigenous people did know God. They lived in a universe in which kinship exists between all things, or a system of kinship, because they saw creation as sacred and beautiful. Thus, thankfulness and gratitude were to be expressed in stories, ceremonies, rituals, and customs. For example, let's look at the synopsis of the Navajo creation account. At the beginning, beings climbed up from a world of disharmony to the next world, seeking Hojo. That's the Navajo word for harmony. And this ascension, this emergences and journey continued 4 more times because each world has this recurring pattern of conflict, disagreement, and ascension until they emerge to this present world. This story showed how they broke through the small kingdoms of worlds or left the garden like our first parents, Adam and Eve, to an alternative and a much larger world. I believe God has implanted knowledge of himself in all indigenous people by his creation. This was a foreknowledge of God's special revelations in that he would make himself more clearly and fully known to us by his holy and divine word. Just as today, there were problems in this world with disharmony, God gives all humanity an invitation to leave the garden and transform ourselves multiple times as we get older. In life, we all have to break through and leave the garden, the small gardens of conflict and disagreement in this world to a better alternative and much larger world of God's realm on earth and in heaven. Ella, Richard. Ready? Okay, inhale. Exhale. Okay, we have Terry Wildman. Terry says, hello, would Jesus eat fried bread? Terry Wildman here. Kind of like he's on the phone. Normally, I would be there with you, but I was unable to make it this time. I was asked to share some words of wisdom for this season, so I wrote something to share with all of you. First, as we gather here, let us recognize the sacredness of this moment. Creator has brought us together not by chance, but with purpose. The world around us may be divided, but as Indigenous people, we are united by much more than what separates us. Our common ground includes respect for Creator, our communities, families, elders, lands, and traditions. Each of us carries a piece of the sacred fire, a flame that is kindled by our life journeys. Our ancestors endured struggles far greater than our own, and we are shaped by their sacred teachings, both traditional and in the Jesus way. We know the power of storytelling, how words, spoken with care, can heal wounds and mend divisions. When we listen deeply, we are reminded that no one story holds all the truth. Let's listen to each other with curiosity and open hearts to ensure we all feel heard. Together, our stories can weave multicolored regalia to wear with honor. Let this gathering be a spark that kindles a commitment to love and unity. We must value our relationships more than our differing opinions. So let's listen to each other well, speak respectfully, and act with love, building a better future for the next 7 generations. Let's care for all creation, stand for justice, and walk in harmony with each other. In the words of Creator Sets Free from the First Nations version, Creator's blessing rests on the ones who make peace. It will be said of them, they are the children of the Great Spirit. Let's walk forward together. Can someone say that for me? Miigwech. Miigwech. Bizin, Doi, Yik. Thank you for listening, is what he says. So, okay. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. Okay, so next is Laura. You guys got to hear from her the first night. And she asked me, I think the day that you guys were traveling is the night before when we had that big storm with all the snow and stuff. And so she was asking me to teach about the washing in the snow. That it's a beautiful reminder of our teachings and to hold them as our truth. And so this is the Dene tradition. I've just learned how to do it with my girls. So when the first snow of the season comes, we are to go out and wash ourselves and maybe roll around in it. Cedric, do you roll around in the snow?
A little bit. Snow angel?
Yeah, make snow angels. But Donnie instructs our girls to wash their face and to wash their hair. And he reminds them that this is so that they will be strong, that they will be strengthened for the long, cold winter, and that for their hair so that they won't get white hair. It's too late for me, but his dad was 93 when he passed, and he didn't have very much white hair, but yeah. So that's kind of what she was asking us to teach. But I actually have a video from 2016. I don't know if you saw Talia, but she's 16 now. But I think in this video, she's 8. Yeah. So here's the video. And Perry was a baby, and Kaya, she's tiny too. But that's Donnie's mom.
Oh, baby.
You on your face? Put it on your face. Like you're washing your face like
It's melty now.
yeah.
It's cold.
I know. Wash your face. Does she like it?
It's so magical for me
Oh, she likes it. Okay. Yeah, so that's the video of how, yeah, really sweet. So that's what Laura asked me to kind of teach about. And then the last, okay, so inhale. Exhale. Okay, this next video is Ray Aldrich. He is Cree from Salt River Band, Treaty 8, I think it is. And so he sent a video. So this is his video of what he had to say.
Hey Renee, and everyone else who may see this video. I'm sitting in a hotel room in Bella Coola, British Columbia, visiting with the Nuhawk people. And I got your message and I thought about conflicts, and I'm getting older now and realize that we all want to do what is best, yet we end up fighting about things. In the end, I think that what I hold on to is that the kind of three things that I read in one author, George Lindbeck. He was trying to write to help Catholics and Protestants come closer together. He said that when the early church was writing about Christ, they really had three rules that they sort of followed when making statements about Christ. There is only one God. Number two, that Jesus Christ came in the flesh. And number three, the maximization of Jesus. If they could see Jesus in their religious tradition, then they did. Now you think about those things for the work that we try to do among our own people. In the end, for me, it's about realizing that the plan is to see creation and creator meet in perfect harmony. And we see that in Christ. And so I think if we can make that the basis of our efforts somehow, I think we can move in a direction that's helpful. But it's really up to you folks who are younger to do that. I mean, us who are older, we did some stuff and all we can do is tell about the stories and things that happened. But it's about what you're doing right now that's most important. If you can somehow continue to move towards life, that would be a good thing. Hope this helps. Again, my prayers are with you. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Inhale. Exhale. I'm thankful that they were quick to write and just tell us all these things. Whatever you have taken from each one, that's why I did the inhale to hold and then exhale, you know. I want to just pray over you, but in the form of a poem. If you don't mind, if you feel safe enough to do so, you can close your eyes, find a comfortable position within yourself. If you want to put your hands on your thighs or palms up or however you want to. wiggle your shoulders a little bit to get comfortable, and be held by and supported by the chair. A lot of times I notice that I still brace when I'm sitting, and I noticed that when my therapist told me to just let myself be supported, I was like, oh shoot, like I don't let myself be supported a lot of times, but finding a place where you can feel supported and held, closing your eyes. And I want to read a poem from by Joy Harjo. For calling the spirit back from wandering the earth in its human feet. Open the door, then close it behind you. Take a breath offered by friendly winds. They travel the earth gathering essences of plants to clean. Give it back with gratitude. If you've seen, it will give your spirit lift to fly to the stars' ears and back. Acknowledge this earth who has cared for you since you were a dream, planting itself precisely within your parents' desire. Let your moccasin feet take you to the encampment of the guardians who have known you before time, who will be there after time. They sit before the fire that has been there without time. Let the earth stabilize your post-colonial insecure jitters. Be respectful of the small insects, birds, and animal people who accompany you. Ask their forgiveness for the harm we humans have brought down upon them. Don't worry. The heart knows the way, though there may be high rises, interstates, checkpoints, armed soldiers, massacres, wars, and those who will despise you because they despise themselves. The journey might take you a few hours, a day, a year, a few years, 100, 1,000, or even more. Watch your mind. Without training it, it might run away and leave your heart for the immense human feast set by the thieves of time. Do not hold regrets. When you find your way to the circle, to the fire kept burning by the keepers of your soul, you will be welcomed. You must clean yourself with cedar, sage, or other healing plant. Cut the ties you have to failure and shame. Let go the pain you are holding in your mind, your shoulders, your heart, all the way to your feet. Let go the pain of your ancestors to make way for those who are heading in our direction. Ask for forgiveness. Call upon the help of those who love you. These helpers take many forms: animal, element, bird, angel, saint, stone, or ancestor. Call your spirit back. It may be caught in corners and creases of shame, judgment, and human abuse. You must call in a way that your spirit will want to return. Speak to it as you would to a beloved child. Welcome your spirit back from its wandering. It may return in pieces, in tatters. Gather them together. They will be happy to be found after being lost for so long. Your spirit will need to sleep a while after it is bathed and given clean clothes. Now you can have a party. Invite everyone you know who loves and supports you. Keep room for those who have no place else to go. And make a giveaway. And remember, keep the speeches short. Then you must do this. Help the next person finding their way through the dark. Holy Spirit, we ask that you use this time, the places where we took the inhale and exhale, inhaling the good, exhaling gratitude, that you would bring us to a place of balance, and that the words of our elders and the meditations of our heart and our prayers would go out to you, and that you would bring them back with an answer to our spirits as we call our spirit back from all the experience that we've had throughout the years, whether it was abuse or just all kinds of things that we are finding room to share. I pray that you would protect everyone spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, that you would take everyone home safely and with a full and happy heart. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to share my story. And we thank you for this time. Amen.